Hi, good morning to you. So today I want to talk about the voice in the adoptee's head. Now, voices in our heads. Voices in our heads. Sounds scary, doesn't it? And it is. It is. I'm laughing, but it is definitely very scary. I think one of the reasons it's scary is because in the old days, people with voices in their heads, or people who said they had voices in their heads, used to be locked up. They used to be locked up in lunatic asylums. They used to be subject to that electric shock therapy to stop the voices in their heads. And there's a stigma. There's that stigma, isn't there, about going public, saying you're saying you're suffering, saying you're suffering. You say you're suffering from the voices in your head. But here's the thing: we've all got one. We've all got one. We may not, like me, I didn't see it as being different to me. I thought it was me. The voice in my head started squawking very early. I wasn't good enough at school, and I wasn't good enough at football, and I wasn't good enough. Well, the worst stuff was actually on a scout camp. So I was about 11, and I'm not a particularly practical guy. So I kept on messing up. And when I messed up, the patrol leader, the older boy in charge of the tent, he used to get me to kneel on the grass and repeat after him, "I'm a stupid, worthless piece of," and then a lot of swearing. And that I know now that guy picked up that behavior from his dad. Unfortunately, he didn't have the most bluntly, the most enlightened of dads, and he was just repeating what he was just repeating what had happened to him. I'm 99.9% sure of that. I didn't know that at the time. I'm talking 43 years ago here, so I'm 54. This was when I was 11. So the external bully, the bully on this scout camp, this 15-year-old guy called Dave, that external bully became an internal bully in my head, and then that developed, and it got louder and louder, and I wasn't good enough in all parts of my life. Not all the time, but it was always there, nagging, squawking, telling me I wasn't popular enough. I wasn't, I remember failing my driving test twice, so that was another reason. And then in business, I wasn't good enough at business. I wasn't good enough of a dad at business. I wasn't making a good fist of running the family business. And then, of course, the big one as an adoptee that, I had, when it occurred to me, I had a really, really, really good, strong, compelling, believable, utterly convincing reason to believe that I wasn't good enough, because here was this kid that was given away for adoption, given away in one particularly venomous and angry moment. And when this all erupted for me, it didn't actually erupt to me till I hit 40. It didn't erupt to me till I hit 40. All that time it wasn't there. Some people might say it was suppressed. I don't believe that's true. I just believe it wasn't there. I wasn't good enough, despite no, the truth was that I was, but I couldn't see that. The truth was that my mum and dad loved me, that I was good enough, and that I did all this stuff, but I couldn't see that. I couldn't see that. So I was fighting and fighting with this voice in my head. And the more I fought, the more I tried to silence it, the louder it got. It's like pressing against somebody else. You pressing your hand against, doing a high five with somebody, and you press and they press back, and yeah, that's what it does, and that it fans the flames. And the voice gets louder and louder and louder as the denial meets. It's like the most what my mentors, Richard Wilkins and Liz Ivory, call the uncivil war, and that's finding them back in 2009 was the start for me of knowing what to do about the voice in my head. Because fighting it definitely doesn't work. It didn't work for me. The only way that we can get any peace is by ignoring it. So how do we do that? Well, how do we do anything? We learn, I guess. We learn to do it. Time and persistence. But most importantly, an insight. We do things differently when we have a big insight. The insights change our worlds. Insights change our world. Epiphanies or epiphanettes, little epiphanies, they're the ones. That's what changes our world, and that's what I'm trying to bring out for you today. I want to see, because the first step, I guess, is the hope that we can ignore the bully in our head. The second step, I guess, I don't know, maybe it comes before, is seeing that it's not us. So it becomes an opinion that we no longer value, as my good friends Richard and Liz would say. And I spent a week on this. Can you believe that? A week learning this stuff, 9 till 6 for 5 days back in 2009. And it is all we did. Richard and Liz talk about this being, we became pickled. We became pickled in this new understanding, this new knowledge that the voice in our head isn't us. We weren't born with it. We may have been born with all sorts of stuff going on. All sorts of stuff may have been going on before we were born. But that negative voice in our head, that wasn't there. We arrived on this planet without the negative voice in our head. So how can it be us? It's simply, it's not simply at all. It's very complex, but it's not true. The voice in our head that tells us that we're not good enough is a liar, and liars tell lies. It's not the truth about who we are. And how could it be us? How can we be something that we are born without? What is it then? Well, it's the rubbish that we pick up from the world around us. And then the metaphor I use for this is imagine a perfectly white brick wall. So the bricklayer's been in, he's built this brick wall. Then he or she has painted it brilliant white. That's us when we arrive on this planet, when we're born. Perfect, pristine, nothing, just pure white. And then we start to pick up stuff from the world around us. So for me, being told I wasn't good enough at some stuff at school. So imagine that's like graffiti. So somebody starts graffitiing, writing graffiti on this wall. And we see this graffiti that says that we're not good enough, especially because we're adopted. So we can't be good enough, can we? And we start joining in. Because we believe the rubbish that we picked up from the world around us, we start joining in on and graffitiing the wall ourselves. And before we know it, the wall is a mess of nasty, horrible thinking ideas that we've got about ourselves, and that's our sense of who we are. Not what we show to the world, but the stuff that we keep to ourselves. And we believe that rubbish. But here's the thing: it isn't who we are. It's just a load of thinking and thoughts and horrible feelings that come with that. Because who we truly are is the white wall, the brilliant white wall, innocent and just perfect. We aren't the graffiti on the wall. So I hope that's helped. I hope that's helped. This runs completely counter to the massive information that's fired at us on the internet all day and every day about the strategies and the tactics, but this is what changes. Well, this is what has changed how I see myself, and it's insights. So it's insights that change our world, not behavior, not strategies, but insights. Big insights, little insights. Holy Mother of God insights from Charlton Heston. Charlton Heston talks about in the movies, and that's what changes our world. So I'd encourage you to think about that, and if that sounds like it makes sense to you, then hang out at the bus stop, and the insights will be along. That's where the metaphor runs out, because these insights aren't late, because there's never a timetable. So keep hanging out in the space where insights occur, and hopefully you'll get that glimpse of separation between you and the voice in your head. Thanks a lot. See you soon. Bye-bye.